What's good, everybody, and welcome back to Team YuGiOh here. Another versus local video, and today we finally were able to take Infernoble featuring the Flame Swordsman stuff to locals post Justice Hunters. So we should be getting to see a lot of Vanquish Soul Canine, and I know we have a Yummy and a Draco Tail that was floating around, but we go against round one against nothing but a blast from the past, a Toy Box YuGiOh Fiendsmith pile. My man here, Brandon's a huge fan of the toy box stuff, so he just enjoys using it. The cards are kind of crazy, and they do have a lot of synergy, being like, I guess, Toy Soldier can search out the YuGiOh cards and search out Lacrima. But we see something that's kind of crazy, a set, a toy box to set 2, then set 2 more cards. I have in my hand, I believe, a Dark Flare Swordsman, an Almus, and I do make a huge misplay here. So first round of the night, so there is like a giant misplay. So I activate the Dark Flare Swordsman, and I probably should have equipped the Almus, used Almus's effect to try and equip the Durandal to get a more successful search. And I guess, first round of the night, I just don't think about it. I'm just like, let's just go ahead and bait Ash here, which is like not a good cause. You can see I have like Effect Veiler, Imperm, and I think an Ash Blossom too. But I even contemplated here, man. I'm thinking, and I don't know why I didn't do it. I should have just equipped it and did the search to guarantee, because I don't have no starters in my hand. But instead, I decided to go ahead and use Dark Flare Swordsman, which he responds to with an Ash Blossom, which, yeah, so that stops my turn. And I'm like, well, I have 3 hand traps. I should be okay. Actually, I think I have also a Perilli in my hand as well. So I think that also might have been why I was okay, and like it kind of escaped my mind to equip the Almus. But I 100% should have, because I should have equipped Almus to get a normal summon, and then I should have normal summoned out the Flame Swordsman, the Fighting Flame Swordsman. There we go, and then search the Fighting Flame Sword. Then I could have like done at least something, but he ends up using the toy box to send 2, special summon out Tank and Soldier. Soldier effective search, not though Imperm here. I'm really traumatized by the one of talent, so I try to always throw Imperm first. But we see make 2 to go into Close Moon into Requiem. I do throw the Ash Blossom here at Requiem, hopefully to end his turn. And we just see him activate Druid Worm here to go ahead and summon out. Probably going to banish. He has to see my graveyard, and it's like, yeah, I don't have no lights or darks in my graveyard, my man. So he ends up banishing his Take to summon out the Druid Worm. Druid Worm being probably like, the worst one to have in my scenario. Magnum would have probably been better for him, but anyway, he ends up attacking for 25, and we end up passing it over here. I don't know why. So I did have Perilli. I don't know why I didn't chain the Perilli there. I guess I must have escaped my mind. Yeah, it's kind of a big... Again, first round of the night, you got to warm up a little bit. That's kind of crazy that I didn't chain the Fua. Or not the Fua, the Perillia there to be able to at least an upstart, Maybe I thought to hold it. Maybe that was like my mentality is hold it, but I should have... Yeah. I have to pass it over again to him there. Again, now, so like the last locals we went to before Justice Hunter, I was like not seeing no non-engine. So here I throw Perillia here. Yeah, so I wonder if... Yeah, I know I saw it in my hand, so I don't know why I was so hesitant to not throw it, but... yeah, with the last locals I went to with the same list, I didn't see all this non-engine, and I just kept seeing engine. I literally had to sit and watch my opponent play. Maybe I was lucky enough to see 1 Ash Blossom, and we all know how 1 Ash does here. But we see the Effect Veiler touching the Toy Soldier again, but we see a Legendary Synchro Summon here into a Chaos Angel, which isn't too terrible for my deck to solve, like especially with Imperms and then the Fighting Flame Sword. Like, the Chaos Angel is not that big of a threat. But in a simplified game state, if I can't even play, Chaos Angel is going to be, because I've taken a total of 6,000 so far here, so I literally have to do something. So I think I drew the Salamandra, the Fighting Flame Salamandra, the Dragon, the equip spell essentially. I drew that, which is not a good draw at all. But again, it's essentially that card's like another equip spell. But this game 1 definitely could have potentially gone so much better if I just had played correctly. And it's wild because like prior to going to locals, like I was running through test hands and stuff like that, trying to like warm myself up, right? And trying to remember to myself these cool interactions and stuff that you can have. Like there's like a lot of cool interactions, because if you fire off your Dark Flare Swordsman into like K9 and stuff like that, you're able to, if they chain the Ishizu, I can't pronounce the name, the Ishizu, and then you can quick effect chain your Dark Flare Swordsman, removing it from field and Imperm and stuff like that. It was just like doing some technical play here. But I ended up siding in Salesman because at first I don't know what he's playing against, so I decided to call Droll and Lockbird, just because, again, like even though this deck can play through Droll, it I would rather not have to play through it. So I normal summon the Fighting Flame Sword. It meets an Imperm, which is okay. He ashes the Reinforcing the Army. Again, just throwing... My man's just throwing the hand traps at the first thing that he sees. So it's just like... I think I have 2 hand traps in hand, too, along with... Yeah, it looks like I have Ash and something else. He goes Lubellion, and I'm like thinking... I was like, okay, so if he ends up... I just Ash Lubellion here because I'm like thinking he has some cards in hand, but he seems to hard open the Druisworm, like, hard open the Druisworm with it, which is terrible. Such bad luck. But anyway... he attacks the Fighting Flame Sword. I attempt to use the Fighting Flame Sword's effect to go ahead and dump the Salamandra. So I don't end up drawing it because it's going to allow me to search the trap card. So then I'll be able to at least like get these 2 quote-unquote bricks out of my deck so I don't have to worry about drawing them to increase my odds of drawing at least a starter in some form or fashion. So we end up drawing. It looks like I have... I'm trying to see what the other card in my hand is. Draw for turn. I must have drew something. I drew... Ooh, yep. It must have been a Equip spell. It was Almus, okay. No, I think my starting hand was Fighting Flame Swordsman Turpin, so I must have drew the Almus. I'll go Almus effect. I'm just clarifying the zone to put it into. I'm putting in the Pendulum Zone where there's nothing set because I don't want to fall victim to an Imperm here. Go ahead and search out the Renault. Yeah, my hand was Fighting Flame Sword, Turpin, Salesban, Rhoda, and Ash Blossom, yeah. Special out the Renault. Renault effect to attempt to add back the Durandal. We go ahead and synchro off here into Angelica. Unprotected Angelica here, sadly. This is kind of the cool things about Infernobles. If you guys are not familiar with the strategy or anything like that, trying to learn it, is that any level 4, like all of the bad level 4 Infernobles, along with Renault, can still get you to Angelica. So that's the one, like, that's a really cool thing here. So we see droplets here. Like this man, ugh. Just, I don't know how to put it. Like, this is just like... I don't even know how to even describe it. Just, like, not good. This is, like, terrible YuGiOh, in my opinion. Like, this is, like, wow, I'm just getting sacked by these, like, crazy, like, you know, like, one-ofs. Or not even one-ofs, but, like, it's kind of, like, cards that nobody's playing anymore. But, like, this deck just makes like, that makes sense. So he normal summons the Toy Soldier. Toy Soldier grabs him the box. He activates the box, and he goes box effect to attempt to set. And what I mean by that is droplets is not being heavily played right now currently, as the format is still being figured out, but it just makes sense in the toy box deck because you're able to send 2 here. And then so he's ended up setting 2, goes to battle phase, pokes me with the Toy Soldier. Not much I can do, sadly, so I draw for turn, hoping that the, you know, YuGiOh, the heart of the cards, can get me through this. But I'm trying to see. I didn't even get to see what I picked up. I'm looking at my grave. I'm trying to see what I have in my grave. But I have, like, Turpin and Grave, which is, like, Reborn and stuff. I have Durandal that I can equip to the Toy Soldier. And the Toy Soul, and then... I remembered I grabbed Durandal simply because I thought, like, Angelica was going to hit with another Imperm or something. So that way I'd be able to do this on the following turn. I didn't see the droplet sending the Druisworm, but I used Durandal. I think I was thinking on the Fighting Flame Sword, but I don't know. Ricciardetto is what I end up searching. Which I guess, in this situation with the toy box, like, normally, like, the Fighting Flame Sword would be probably the better choice, right? And then go battle phase, but toy box would be able to, like, I gotta get rid of toy box before I go to battle phase, so no matter what, if he has Imperm, he has Imperm. But I normal summon Ricciardetto effect to go ahead and target the level 5 Fighting Flame Swordsman I believe I have in the graveyard. And then, so I target the Fighting Flame Swords, and I was just telling him, he asked what target, so I'm reading a call by, but even in this scenario, if he called by this, I could have equipped and then summon out Turpin. I would still get roll-in access, I believe. But I've already exhausted my Angelica, so I don't know. So we go Chainlink 1, roll-in effect during the end phase. Chainlink 2, this ability to send. And since I have the trap card set, I wanted to go ahead and get send, but he decides to call by here, which is interesting. I don't know. I mean, he probably doesn't know what my deck does, but again, it's like one of those scenarios where I don't know if he knew or if he did know, because in the sense of he thought that maybe he knew what Ricciardetto did and thought that I could get. He doesn't know what my X-Check is, so maybe he just decided to hold. But yeah, we end up being able to equip summon out the Turpin, going to Charles here. Effect of this to equip, and then we can use Charles's effect to non-targeting destroy. We go ahead and get rid of the toy box, which means now we're kind of in the clear to start battling. Still knowing that he plays like droplets is still terrifying, especially if he sends a monster, I can't respond to it. But now that I know what the 2 cards that are set are, just the toy box cards, I'm pretty well off into the races here. But yeah, did that call by really caught me off guard because I would have swore that he would have called by my target off of the Ricciardetto. But like I said, maybe he knew that even if he called by whatever I had, I would have been able to just equip the Salamander, special summon out the Turpin, and then synchro into, synchro anyway. But we're able to use the Fine Flame Sword to add another copy of the Dark Flare Dragon, sending what I need here, and I hard drew into Gearfried on top of it. Okay. Yeah, Gearfried was really faithful to me during locals, and also during the testing that came after locals. It was really... It was faithful, but this is enough for game here, simply because the Dark Flare Swordsman I'm going to be able to tag out. So I can go ahead and... I'm just explaining what Gearfried does, because he was curious, and I was like, monster negate, stuff like that. But I was just quickly doing math, because I think I have enough for game here. Solving the Angelica kept me off the Museum, which is like additional 1,500 attack points overall here that would be here, but I was thinking Gearfried declares, sucks up the... Oh no, I just attack with the Ultimate Flame Swordsman over, or the Dark Flare Swordsman. Attack with Charles, attack with Gearfried. I use the Dark Flare to summon out the level 4 Fighting Flame Sword, and then attack for 18, which would have been enough, which is enough for game. So we go on into this all-important game number 3. And I'm going to tell you guys that yes, this is round 1, but I did make a very risky call because I get really greedy. Super greedy. And we see him activate the toy box yet again. Setting 2. This is one of the joys of locals, man. You get to see these unique strategies. Never feels good getting completely, blasted by these unique strategies, but it is cool nonetheless to see. And we get to see him add, I think he pitches Engraver to add Sanct. I respond with Droll and Lockbird here, a card that I hate but also understand. So he ends up using the Sync to summon out a token. He goes into Wreck. I think I have Ash Blossom and Ash Imperm. Yeah, I open a pretty good non-engine hand. But this is why we're playing a lot of non-engine in the deck here. I think currently I'm on 6 Chummies or 6 Charmies. I call them Chummies for some reason, just because I guess a pun. But 6 Charmies, 3 Imperm, 3 Effect Veiler, and 3 Ash. And the reason you play Effect Veiler is because it has synergy with your Dark Flare Swordsman, being able to combo even if that's all you get access to. And Ash Blossom also can do the same thing. So Ash also serving the purpose here of dual purpose. Ash is mostly here to hit the Charmies themselves, but also if Dark Flare Swordsman plus Ash is also full combo as well. And that's what I was really looking for, is my hand traps have synergy with my engine, so it's like a fluid movement, which is why I kind of took inspiration from when I was playing Mermails when I was building this deck. We fire Heritage of the Chalice off, and he just ashes. I end up passing to him, and then just draw phase. We end up firing off the Perilia, hopefully keep him off of, summoning from the hand. Like I said, at this moment, I've not seen any White Forest or anything like that, so, I'm just thinking this is literally, Toy Box White Forest, so I know that Perilia is insane against White Forest. So he goes Engraver effect, shuffle back to go ahead and summon out. My man here definitely did not see the Triff video where you're supposed to go for Caesar, but he ends up making Lacrima. No, see, not Lacrima, Sequence. Then we Imperm the Sequence here. And now I'm like, hopefully this will be enough. But he ends up sending the Toy Soldier to summon out Ice. So I get a draw of Perilia, and I was like, wait a minute, this ain't White Forest, but okay. And then the Toy Soldier should trigger here, I believe, since it was sent to the graveyard. Can't stop it. And then the Toy Soldier gets the ability to search for a light, so he gets to search for the X. And right here on the search of X, I go ahead and throw a second Perilia. So that way, now, he's either forced to go into Detonator here, which would be brutal. If he went Detonator here, I actually think he cooked me. But we're really hoping he gets greedy here. And he decides to search 2, because now it's okay, so if you commit it to Duo Drive, you're definitely going to commit at least 2 more bodies. And that's going to guarantee me 4 draws, which potentially could get me in the ability to out just a single Detonator. But I don't know, man, because Detonator is such a hell of a card. Even if he does give me the 4 draws, if I don't rip into an Imperm or, potentially something, I don't think I can out a Detonator here. So he's thinking here. I would imagine he activates his X to send, and I get to draw 2. And here is something that I don't know if you knew, because he's attempting to add, and we're I don't think you can't add because you have to control. You can't control the Link monster. And one of my Standby Buddies catches that for me. So I'm like, okay, thank goodness. I drew another Fua now in hand after I've already used my Pirellias. But that's okay. At this point, it is what it is. His hand's really stacked, which is also kind of scary because he could potentially just, like, a handful of hand traps as well. So does he have... I think he has to pass on this, which is interesting. I wonder if he knows to pass, or maybe he's just, you know, not wanting to pass. I end up making like I wouldn't say like a horrible play here, but I end up making a very risky play. But I normal summon the Fighting Flame Swordsman. I'll explain it when we get there to attempt to search. It's definitely a play that I should have got punished with. He has Drone Lockbird. I decide to chain. And this is, again, every video I'll do it until the day Konami finally addresses and chances this card. Droll going first when you're playing, you know, turn 0 and stuff like that is good, but when you're trying to play into a board and play the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Droll just exists, it's ridiculous. Like, I think Droll in its most unfair use is when you're trying to play into an already established board, and I don't think Droll should do that, in my opinion. But every video I'll do it, man, until Konami decides to give us like a Charmy. That's like a Droll. But I feel like if they were to address Droll and give us a Charmy, the Charmy would be like Shared Ride. But anyway, activating the Dark Flare Swordsman to go ahead and summon itself out. And the reason I say it would be like Shared Ride is because all the Charmies have to do with draw cards, right? So in that sense, you're trying to get, you know, draw. So it just makes sense if it was a Shared Ride, but we already have a Shared Ride. Shared Ride is... I even prefer Shared Ride over Droll, man. Like, yeah, draw cards as I, like, search, or if I add cards from my hand, you get to search, you get to draw. Like, that just seems way more fair, especially with the amount of hand traps being played today. Like, you're able to, like, potentially draw into hand traps to disrupt me along with your board. Like, that seems more fair than Droll just blanketing the entire thing. But in my defense, my buddy Brendan here also hates Droll, but it's just a necessary evil. And we link off here into, I'm trying to think, I go into Hida. I go effect of the the Fighting Flame Storms to go ahead and dump the Salamander to go ahead and get rid of it, just so, again, I don't see it. Because essentially, even if you're under Droll, you want to get it out of the deck so you don't draw it. I go ahead and Reborn as Ash Blossom, and I think I go into SP to banish the Toy Box. That's okay. I use this to equip to SP. On a hard, I got access to Gearfried here. I banish the Salamander to summon out Gearfried. So now I get to go into battle phase, and I get to clear the board here, even though I can't attack directly, but that's okay. So I was like, I just gotta do what I need to do. SP into the sequence. I'm just reading this guy, because I know this guy has some attack modifiers, but only when he has materials. So we attack in the sequence, and then Gearfried will declare into do a drive, and then at the start of damage, I'll equip the X to give me additional 500, so give me whack him over for 1,000. And now this is where kind of this is where that horrible play that I was talking about that I should have got punished. But now looking back and watching the video, like I see he's looking through his graveyard, you know, so now it's just like one of those moments where I see him looking in his graveyard, so I know he's aware of what's in his grave. So I just kind of have to really put all the, all the marbles in one bag and just hope this goes through, because like he has the Fiendsmith follow-up, not to mention I believe he also has another search for a Ryziel that he already did last turn that I can't quite remember. So let's see here. I think he goes ahead and he looks in his graveyard. I have Fu in hand, right? So like the theory is I'll negate the first thing he does, and then I will use. And this was I even chuckled and I was telling my friends, I was like, if this I have a secret plan, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it's, you know, it's all or nothing. So I end up the first thing he does, I'm gonna attempt to negate. He goes X effect, send an aggregator. So I was like, yeah, he goes X effect. He doesn't use the aggregator to chain block, and so I don't know, like, of course I'm like, uh-oh, did he like, so he's not going to use it, I'm just going to go get rid of the X off the field. So I go ahead and chain Gearfried to negate the X, and he goes and looks through my graveyard here, and then after he was like, well, could I, he was confused, he was like, could I have, and I was like, yeah, you definitely could have used the aggregator, and that would have probably like changed the outcome of this. But anyway, we're still sitting here with our, he banishes to summon out Magnamut. So when he summons out Magnamut, this is where I make the risky move, because I'm only at 1,000 life, so I can stay here, but 1,000 life he can essentially whack over SP and, you know, do it. And arguably the correct play, but I let the greed of draw get to me, and I kind of put him on, see if he remembers his Fiendsmith or not. So I go SP effect to Magnamut search, banish Gearfried in it so he can come back. And this is where he just has to go into... I don't have 1,000 life left. I have enough life to where I can survive an attack. So he goes Battle Phase, swings with Magnamut, and that puts me down to 1,000 life. And if he just simply, man, this is it. This is exactly what I was hoping would happen. He forgot about the Fiendsmith in the graveyard, and he goes main phase 2, put back the Lacrima, summon out the Fiendsmith in the graveyard, and I throw Fua here to potentially keep him at bay for one more turn. Now, like I said, arguably, here's the issue, is that I feel as though he would have been able to potentially see it through. So if I didn't do this play and left, did SP banish Magnamut and SP, he would have potentially been able to see the monster on field, and then not been so inclined to go to battle phase right away. So since I was able to remove both my bodies, he just saw a clean opening to smoke for 25, and he took it. So now we're here in the driver's seat. I fire off Heritage of the Chalice, another crazy... And if you guys don't know, going second into a board, Heritage of the Chalice is a one-card combo. So right now, as long as this goes through, I have the ability to, essentially one-card combo. That's what I'm thinking. But I know he plays Droll, so I'm like, man, if I get Drolled here, I just kind of like... We're playing the long game here. But now I try to play out of my mind because time is coming. And I want to just be able to, play through it. So I go and activate the Museum. He uses the Lacrima. He's just building up a wall here. So it's like, okay, he's just putting up bodies to essentially get somewhere, And he sends another Engraver. So no Fiendsmith in Paradise, because I was calculating Fiendsmith in Paradise, but no Paradise being sent. Probably not playing it, since he was also playing the track to probably not lose. Not the track. He searched the... I forget it already. The quick play. I just said it. He searches the quick play that allows you to... The Sync. There we go. He would search the Sync to play through Droll. But anyway, we're going to try and combo off here. We're going to do our best, because I'm just looking... Again, I was going to search Ogier because I got streamlined into the whole thing here to see it, to do the one-card combo. But I normal summon Ricciardetto, target, and he changed Imperm, and I think here I go effect of Little Knight, target the Ricciardetto, and then target the Magnamut, I believe, to go ahead and remove them both. So it dodges the Imperm here, so I can bring out the Fighting Flame Sword. Fighting Flame Sword effect to go ahead and search for a Fighting Flame... Or the Fighting Flame Swordsman, search for the sword, and then sword can grab me into the Dark Flare Swordsman, which then I should have enough for damage. But he tries to... Yeah, he doesn't try. Okay, I thought he had another Droll, but I was just thinking of another game. I get to fire this off to go ahead and search for Dark Flare Swordsman. Dark Flare Swordsman, send the Fighting Flame. I sadly don't have access to the trap card, but I have all the bodies in graveyard that if I can just get it there, we're okay. We go ahead and link 3 into Promethean Princess. Princess to bring back. We're just trying to get a little bit higher damage here because time is ticking and he's pretty much at full life. So we go effect here to bring out the... What do we choose? We just choose another... See, I kind of panic here. I'm like, okay, we just need bodies. Summon out another Flare Swordsman. And we attempt to go battle phase. I declare here onto the Fiendsmith Engraver, equip the Lacrima. Go ahead and get Lacrima out of rotation. And I'm just like, yeah, so I swing for 27. Swing for 27. And he activates the plugin. Which that was his other search, now that I remember it. Now that I'm watching, like I should have... I didn't see that. So he summons out the Duo Drive and attaches from deck. Which is okay because Duo Drive is going to... I think it lowers my attack by 500 for everything, but I'm still 22 and his defense is 2,000. So I'm like, okay. So I'm still at 22, but then once I solve the Duo Drive, everything's 27. So I swing into the Duo Drive. And then right here, we're just recalculating the math, because we kept up on my life points, because I was the one taking damage, so we're just like retaking. Because he did take some attack damage over Lacrima, or over the sequence and stuff like that, the last turn and everything, so we're just getting life correct. Attack here, still in battle. We're able to tag out into the Fighting Flare Swordsman to be able to poke for 23, which is enough for lethal there. So there we go. Moving on into the next round, number 2, we get to play against some K9 Vanquish Soul, which is kind of crazy here. I'm a Vanquish Soul guy if you guys have been a part of the channel for quite some time. I draw double Imperm here, which is horrible against Vanquish Soul, but I just put him on Better Have It. So I throw Imperm on Raisin, and he looks at his hand. I can't quite see his hand, but it kind of looks like it sticks. It looks like this Imperm sticks, which is kind of crazy. But, anywho, he sets 2 And I think it just links into the rock, and then rock to add back. And I don't know here, since I have another Imperm, I was like, do I fire it off here, or do I just... Yeah, I can't... My hand was full of non-engine, actually. Believe it or not. I think I had Fua, and I missed the opportunity to Fua, because I thought, like, maybe, you know... It was Ash. I don't think it was Ash. It was Imperm, Fua, Renault. And I can't remember the other card. And I'm forced to Imperm... I don't know. Yeah, I'm forced to Imperm... I don't know why I did that. Effect Failure, that was the other card, but I don't know, I was confused. I don't know if I attempted, and I tried to fire off Fua here. Yeah, so I throw Fua just because I was like, maybe. But we see him activate the Azuna here, the K9. But as I was trying to get is, I'm a huge Vanquish guy. As you guys seen the channel, I played this deck before it got its new support, and I would need to go pick up Polysues, but after playing against this deck, I think it's actually kind of, I mean, for lack of better terms, like, it's ridiculous. The turn 0, like, a full, like, if Vanquish Soul, which you'll get to see tonight, or today here on the video, Vanquish Soul, when, like, they open the right attributes, which is, like, you can argue and say it's far and few between, but I feel like it happens more often than people give it credit for. It's ridiculous. They should not have that much interaction on my turn 1. Like, and like, it's not like your, like, normal hand trap where it's 1-for-1ing. It's literally them. As you can see, he's just putting on bodies to go for game here because I have nothing. Zip Zada, nothing. Did not draw a playable hand. It is what it is. And I pull up my camera, and I was just, like, looking, and I was like, oh, yeah, it's game. It's game. So we get to go on here to a game number 2 scenario. But remember, guys, if you guys want to help support the channel, go check out Dueling Guard, proud sponsor of the channel here. Use my code, team, or just COG, to get 5% off your order. Thank you guys so much for your support. So game number 2. But yeah, the Vanquish Soul being able to turn 0, like, that's just ridiculous. I do not agree with the route that Konami, if that's the route Konami is going to try to take with decks moving forward, this more crazy turn 0, I don't agree with it, because they're not just 1-for-1ing, man. Like, they put a body on the field, you know, so, like, their following turn, they have a body. But here's a cool play. Activate the Dark Flare Swordsman, which I know this card pretty much, like, you know, goes after the K9 cards. So he summons the K9 card in response, and I go Chainlink 2 to the K9 to dump the Dark Flare Knight, and then Chainlink 3 to the Dark Flare Knight, my Imperm targeting these units. So that's a cool interaction you can do. And most people, when you activate the Dark Flare Swordsman, it just, if they're playing K9, they're gonna take it, because it's a monster card that activates in hand. So on resolution, they're gonna fire it off. So if you have cards like Imperm and stuff like that, which normally are dead in your hand in this interaction, you're able to use them in this scenario because the Dark Flare Swordsman tributes itself as cost, removing itself. So we're able to actually make Angelica here, go Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2, to be able to grab Museum and send the Salamandra to be able to get access to the Salamandra chain, which Book of Moon feels bad against this deck in some forms, simply because, like, if they attempt to chain, they can chain and bounce back the monster, it doesn't stop it, you know what I mean? And as you can see, the only card I could think to side in was a Dark Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, and my buddy's like, hey, wait a minute, I didn't think Salamander searched that, and I was like, oh shoot, yeah, you're right, that was supposed to be Salamander with chain. Because I was, like, looking at my side deck, and I was like, against this deck, I only really have, like, Drolls. That's the only thing I think I have enough to, like, counter this deck. And I was like, the Shadow Imprisoning Mirror can turn off Borger, can turn off the Mad Love, but I was thinking, I was like, I swear the K9 cards are also dark. Some of them are dark, so I was like, this might be a hindrance at the best, you know. But anyway, we're just doing our typical Infernoble combo here. He just seemed to, the only hand trap he seemed to have was the K9 over there, the Izuzu. I can't ever pronounce his name correctly, so roast me down in the comment section down below. But Museum, pay 12. Feels so good to pay 12 again. Searching Durandal. Activate Durandal. Durandal effect. I think we just go ahead and search out. I think we go Renault. Yeah, we go Renault because we normal summon Ricciardetto. But I was, like, thinking, because technically, since I normal summon Ricciardetto, I could search out any level 4 and then special summon it if I wanted to. But we just search the Renault so we can grab back that Gear Freed. We equip the O-Gear, use Museum's effect to move forward the O-Gear to send the Gear Freed. Same dance, same tell. Same moves that we've been doing for a while. Just a little bit better now. Especially in the sense of that now we're not so reliant on our normal summon. If our normal summon gets stopped, we're okay. Because of the Dark Flare Swordsman stuff, being able to put the level 4 body out for free. We go ahead and equip Charles. Charles effect to go ahead and pop the K9. Special Renault. Renault effect to add back the Gear Freed. And I can't do anything with this Renault, sadly. But that's okay. I do miss Baron here because I could potentially make Baron with the Gear Freed, but, you know, it is what it is. Oh no, wait a minute, I banished Ricciardetto to summon out, oh, another Fighting Flame Swordsman. Okay, I thought he was just going to sit here, yeah, so he just ended up making SP, a weak, watered down SP, essentially, but I mean, SP nonetheless, because essentially, SP is pretty good into, like, Vanquish Soul cards, especially when they start targeting their stuff. you can banish them and they don't get to summon. So set 2. And then end phase, we move to return Angelica, and then Charles. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, we banished the 1 equip. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay, though, because we do have, like, 2 forms of equips in the form of the Trap and Roll and Engrave. So his hand doesn't seem to be too great. I mean, maybe it's a bunch of Vanquish Soul names. I think that's when I look at Vanquish Soul Man and I see Holly Sue, I do agree that Holly Sue was what the deck needed, like a special summon to put out, on the field. But I don't know, man. Like, looking at that card and reading it, I'm thinking, like, you do so much by putting a body out on turn 0, right? Because then you make Borg or you make Caesar and stuff live right away. So I think that maybe it should have been, like, instead of special summon itself and then having 2 effects, it should have been special summon itself, or you could have, like, snatched it or something like that. I don't know, man. And I like Vanquish Soul a lot. It's just, like, one of those things on, especially since it's, like, taking over. We end up negating Stake Your Soul here, though, with Charles, because that card's, like, too insane to let go. And I'm just fearful of tactics, man. Like, I've got punished by a 1 of tactics too many times lately, and it just feels bad, because when I have tactics, my opponent opens, like, just in perm or no hand traps. And then when they open tactics, like, it goes crazy. So he ends up attempting to special summon here. And I'm, like, thinking, I was like, yeah, that should be okay. I don't want to exhaust my Gear Free here because he isn't normal summoned, right? So I was, like, thinking, Resolution, I'll go Roll an Effect to equip to Gear Freed. Then anything, and I clarify anything here, I'll just go Charles Effect to attempt a non-targeting pop. And I just go ahead, and I was just reading the K9 cards because I've not read them fully. I do know, before someone comments down below, there was a K9 Infernoble Flame Swordsman variant that topped in the OCG, but we took a look at that, and it helps facilitate. It is old. They have Isolde, and I feel like that's the reason why. I mean, K9's an insane, like, hand trap engine that you could potentially play. I mean, I'd have to take a look. I don't know if the OG rank 5 Artorgus is a generic rank 5, because if it is, then I could definitely see it. But anyway, he normal summons, and we just chain SP here. And we just go on here, wrap it up, and go on into game number 3. So we get to go second here. I'm hoping to see some hand traps, and I don't know if I do. I think this is like all day, I was able to see, like, a lot of hand traps, and then just this game 3 scenario, my deck's like, no, have some engine. You've been getting a lot of hand traps, boy. Have some engine. And we see a normal summon of Fenrir. So what's wild is I have my hand. Actually, my hand is nothing but hand traps, actually. So I end up drawing here, and this is exactly what I was talking about. I was like, oh, looky here. So he shuffles back my Fighting Flame Swordsman. This is exactly the scenario I was talking about. This is why I have trauma, because this is ridiculous. It is so ridiculous. It feels good to be on the receiving end, or on the giving end, but not on the receiving end. So I have Ash, Fua, and I think Inperm, and Droll, and plus my 1-card starter. So, like, given the Fighting Flame Swordsman didn't do a lot, I still would have been potentially able to draw into something that would have got me something here. And I hate the confliction of the Charmies and the Droll, because now, like, Charmy's dead in my hand, and it's like, what did I value? And this deck doesn't special summon enough from the Exo deck. Like, essentially, the Mulchami for Waros was just like a 1-for-1. Potentially a 2-for-2 if you could catch it in the sense with Holy Sue, you know what I mean? Like, Holy Sue summon from deck, you could potentially get a +1 by dropping the Mulchami. So, but I feel like, Droll on a Fenrir is not too terrible. So I'm just, like, looking at my hand here, and I believe I drew my same starter, which I was like, check this out. Like, what are the odds? I normal summon my starter here, which is not good. A Fenrir kind of solos my hand because my hand's literally 3 more hand traps, right? Like, I really can't do it. So I end up searching the Fighting Flame Sword, which checks the Fenrir, but it doesn't progress my game state, or, at all. Like, literally it doesn't. It'll check Fenrir, but, yeah. It's not going to do really anything else here. So I'm just reading the rock because, like, well, I don't know what he has in hand, but I was like, I know he could potentially summon down something, so, like, I just got to force the rock here to go ahead and get it out of the way. Arguably, I, should have saw the writing on the wall and wrapped it up here, but it is, I'm trying to play against this deck a little bit more because this deck's going to be an issue. And, so now he summons Holly Sue, and it's like, great, so I can't attack Holly Sue. I'm looking at my hand, right? Like, I don't know if this would have been the correct play to do. I should have declared on the Holly Sue, take the damage, fire the sword pop the Fenrir, maybe. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm just in such a bad predicament having these 3 hand traps that I don't know. I sit and I contemplate. I'm like, maybe I should crash into Fenrir but I have to. I can't crash into Fenrir. I have to attack this Holly Sue. So that's what I was like. Oh yeah, like I'm stuck here in this predicament. But I mean, like, this is probably. I mean, like, thinking what I could do here, right? So like, I'm just trying to think on like all the things that I could do if I was not forced to use this flame sword to protect myself, right? The Dark Flare Swordsman is 22, so it's not big enough to be able to whack into Holly Sue, because I think Holly Sue's defense is 22 or it's 24. So even then, if I was able to search and then I activate the Flame Sword effect, I summon itself, and then he targets my... I activate it anyway, okay. But anyway, like, I activate the Dark Flare Swordsman, he can just Finra and banish, you know, one of the two, target and banish, and he's probably going to go after... maybe I could get lucky, right, and he would target the Flare Swordsman, I could quick effect tribute it, right? But he learned from game 2 that it's a quick effect tribute, so he probably would target the level 4, and then that just doesn't do me nothing, because still yeah, it's a bad situation, drawing all these getting talents to get my hand looked at and ripping apart my starter is just, you know, it's just Yu-Gi-Oh! How can you can't account for, you know, the talents, you know what I mean? The talents gives, but talents also takes. So... I mean, it is, you just can't calculate it, right, you know? So I throw Effect Veiler here, just trying to do it. But, again, just, this is just kind of you. But it's kind of wild, because it's almost like, like as I was saying, like, Finner just kind of solos this, because if Finner wasn't here, I potentially, you know what I mean? Like, I'd be in such a better spot, but Finner being able to check, literally, the, anything I do, my first... having a one-card starter and then Finner being able to check the one card is just kind of crazy, you know? So it's just like, Finner is seeing a lot more play, though, because of the entire, what do you call it? The, Finner is seeing play because of the yummies. But I throw a Fuwa here, and I'm like, God, I've hit sticks. It can at least get me into a few draws, so at least maybe I can attempt to, you know, play the game here. But he thinks on it a little bit, because he's like thinking, he's like, how many draws is he going to be able to give me? Which I don't think he'd give me a lot of draws, actually. I think he'd just give me one, but again, one draw, literally one draw is all it could potentially take to put, you know, change the tide of a game here. So he's checking the face down over there, and I'm like, okay, so I wonder if that's a call by, but he ends up just ashing the Fuwa, and I was like, oh, yep, there we go. Can't do anything with it, but he ends up Snow Deviling. Okay, revealing the Holy Suit to just special summon itself, and I take, you know, a couple hundred damage here. And then I think we just see the hard make of the Ripper, Jack the Ripper here, being able to detach and search for a K9 card. And I'm like, yeah, I got you. 2 level 5s. I'll attempt to ash it, you know, just to go ahead and get it out of the way. Because I'm like thinking, I was like, if I can make it to my turn, at least having the Ripper turned off will be okay. Assuming that he stops at the Ripper. But he ends up searching this card. And then he ends up activating the Izuna. I still apologize if I cannot pronounce its name correctly. But he ends up summoning it, and I'm just like, wow, yeah, the writing's pretty much on the wall here. This K9 stuff is pretty cool. Ridiculous, and should be more restrictive, but as you know, Konami just Konami just continues to print, you know, non-restrictive splashable engines. And my buddy at this locals actually took K9 as a pure deck and pretty much said it was god awful, at least till the new support comes out. You know, he's like, it's not worth it. So it's even wild. So it's like Konami just made this deck inherently bad, but made it a splashable engine on purpose, which is, again, it's, you know, it is Yu-Gi-Oh, man, at the end of the day. But I get tired of seeing it, man. Like, I understand certain splashable engines, but I'm just tired of just like splashable engine after engine. Like, it literally went Fiendsmith, Mitsurugi, and now it's K9. But K9 can be played by anyone, which is kind of an interesting take, which is interesting in itself here. But just so everyone can have it, you could kind of play like the Gamma stuff back in the day. You know, like 3 Gammas, 1 driver. It'd still be pretty good stuff, especially with the amount of stuff that activate in hand. But worst case, also, I mean, like, it forces things going second, which is one of the things I do like about it. Whereas if they end up, you know, we talk about, you know, establishing boards and having hand traps to back up your established board. Well, if they just throw Ash, you can, you know, attempt to do something. But I attempt to use my Dark Flare Swordsman here, sending for cost the Fighting Flame Dragon and special summon itself. And then this C101 card's pretty crazy. He attempts to go Fenrir to target. I chain to try and dodge, and he just negates it. And I was like, yep, that's literally all she wrote. That's it, 1 card in hand. And it would be kind of crazy if I, with this 1 card, was like a Heritage of the... I drew Ogier too, man, almost. If it was Heritage of the Chalice or like, you know, Noble Arms Museum, we were in it. But now I get to go round number 3 against a Josh Schmidt wannabe playing Paleo in 2025. So I hate these matchups, man. Like, this, I do apologize that this is going to be what you guys have to sit through and watch, because this is not invigorating gameplay. This is literally just setting 5, passing, and then just sitting through some Wombo Jumbo. So he goes first. We activate Heritage of the Chalice. Attempt to do our, we attempt to search. Seeing no cards in hand, though, means there's no hand traps, which means essentially we're just going to be fearful of what we have face down. And, what we have face down could be anything. I already feel it in my bones. A Druma Cannon could be coming through. But we end up searching out Ogier. Now I have talents. There's a prime example, man. I have talents in my hand, and look at my opponent. He has nothing. Dick all in his hand, and this talent's just going to literally sit here and do nothing. Whereas my opponent last turn got to completely brutalize me with his talents. If that's not any evidence to show you guys that I'm not just, making stuff up. But anyway, we normal summon the Ogier effect to send the Turpin. We equip Durandal. And it's just kind of like blind throwing here because, Durandal, any one of those could be an imperm, you know what I mean? So it is what it is. We're just blindly taking our chances here. So I equipped special summon out the Turpin because I control monsters equipped. Then I decide to fire off the Durandal here. Now, crazy enough is I do have the ability, I just have a Charles set up here. Charles by himself, if I can get to the Link Charles, which I don't think he'll let me get there because surely there's something back there, right? But Charles himself can check 2 of the spell and traps, essentially. He's going to be able to destroy one and then negate another, as long as one's not like a counter trap, etc., But anyway, we end up searching for our... And look, I have Fu in my hand, too. What? Yeah. So we see the activation of oh, goodness. I don't know any of the Paleozoics. That's the one that Book of Moons. I haven't seen the Paleozoics in such a long time. Let's see here. Let me see if I can pull up the cards so I can talk. Special Renault effect, add back the Durandal. Let's see. That was Candina. Okay, so we Candina. We make our Angelica. We go effective Angelica to attempt to add Museum. I'm hoping he throws Imperm. I'm hoping he just does it because, Imperm would be an awesome waste here. But because some people don't read Angelica, and it's just kind of nice that they don't read Angelica, and they try to Imperm her on the ad, and then you can just bob and weave on out. But anyway, we activate Museum. We grab Museum, add it. Attempt to use Ogier's effect to equip, and then chain Angelica. We do see, I think, a Daruma Cannon. I told you guys, I felt it in my bones. But I feel okay with the Daruma Cannon, though, because of essentially, I'm okay because it's Paleo. He ends up summoning back the Candina, but Candina gets flipped face down due to Daruma Cannon. And then I'm just thinking, I was like, all right, do I just play through this, or do I just kind of play a little conservatively here? So I just, attempt to pass. So he flips over Trap Trick. Trap Trick going to go ahead and banish and set, let him activate another trap. One more trap this turn, which he can banish what he sets. It is that way. So essentially, Daruma Cannon, Candina. So he banishes Dinomischus. I remember that one. But Dinomischus has an interesting effect. It, says that it has to have a card discard, so that card's essentially dead if, it's only live when he draws. And I'm like, uh-oh. But it also has to target face up. So it puts me in an interesting predicament with my Angelica. So I was like, okay, so he has to essentially flip my Angelica face up and then target it, and then I'll just leave. Angelica will just go to the store and grab some milk. But then she'll come back. So he draws one more card, and he's just thinking on what to do. Like I said, I can't remember what his other trapped cards were. We'll eventually get to see it. So he flips over the Candina, and he attempts to battle, and then I'm at 2,400 right here. And I don't know, because I've never had this situation come up, and then if it has, it's been a long time. I don't know if, Angelica flips up, and then I can chain Angelica's effect, or if the attack has already been declared, so it goes through as normal, essentially, so Angelica can't just beam out and leave. That Fu was sitting real nice in my hand, Not be able to do anything at all. So he passes, keeping the one card in hand to keep the Dinomischus alive. So I flip over my Turpin. I activate Museum. I go ahead and pay 12, I believe. No, I don't pay 12. I just go ahead and equip Durandal. Durandal to the Turpin. Durandal effect. I think I searched the Fighting Flame Swordsman here. Yep, sure enough. This card's really insane, guys. And that's what I've been trying to tell people is with the new stuff, it makes this engine so much better. And it still sucks because there's not a full one-card combo like the Battle Boxers gives Infernobles. The Battle Boxers bridge into Nobles, whereas the Flame Swordsman doesn't bridge into Nobles, but the Nobles can bridge into the Flame Swordsman. But there's, again, the Fighting Flame Swordsman has 2 effects, right? It's almost like your opponent needs to... It reminds me of Neptibus, in a way, from the Mermill Antaeans. It's you have to have two. So he ends up activating this, pitching to go ahead and banish the field spell. Which I'm like, okay, that's all right. So then we go ahead and attempt to equip, and then attempt to chain Angelica, and we get Book of Moon again. And he's like, anything in response? And I was like, nope, nothing. You're good. Flip face down, but conveniently I normal summon my Fighting Flame Swordsman, and then I can flip over my Angelica, which is pretty nice here because I should be able to get going here. The Fighting Flame Sword would be able to pop the last back row too if I wanted to as well. I think there's a lot of pathways that lead to Rome here, and I just got to try to figure out which one is like the more that has the best road that gets me there. So that's why I was like, yeah, you flip this guy over. I was like, yeah, I can flip this back over. But it has to flip over. Yeah. Well, that's why we were just, I was like, yeah, I can flip. Angelica was flipped over, so I can change his battle position once per turn. So I just flip over Angelica. And yeah, we were just confirming. I have Ash in hand too, which is kind of nice. Ash in perm, which doesn't feel good against these matchups, right? Like, again, this man's been watching too much Joshua Smith, I feel like. Or he shows up and he's just like, I want to be a hindrance to everybody. And it's like, okay. No one at our locals want to play this guy just because it's just... I hate trap decks in the sense of, like, I don't hate them because of what they do. I hate them because, like, they're just not that good. Like, you're entirely totally dedicated. So he activates Rise to Full Heights, which is... targets this card here, which arguably I should have read this card because I just heard target, and I was like... and I thought it targeted and said I could only attack with that monster. And he's like, sweet, okay. And I was like, no, it just doubled my defense. I should have held my Fighting Flame Sword for the second effect. I'm like, oh, okay. I mixed up the effects, so I was like, that's all right. You know, no harm, no foul. Declare with the Fighting Flame Sword. He banishes this, target this, and I think it's like, if I remember right, that just says like I can only attack that monster. I have to read the card again. YuGiOh is amazing, man. You can just quickly read a card, then have to read it again, which is kind of crazy. But essentially, we just declare. I'm trying to think. I was like, do I have anything like I can do? And I was like, no, yeah. Main phase 2. Let's see if we can get Angelica. See if we can get into Charles or anything like that. Or do I just pass on this right here? Oh, do I link into SP? SP banished a lot. Yes, because he has no cards. Yeah, that's right. He has 0 cards. And we just are going to risk it. We have Ash and Imperm and like at SP. And then, yeah, so it's Chainlink 1, target, Chainlink 2, that to send. Send the Salamander. Salamander will at least give me the access to the trap, which I don't have a Fire Warrior or a Fire Monster to equip the trap to, which is kind of like the one downfall of Salamander with Chain. So I just grab it and set 2 and, you know, pass it and hope it's enough, hope it's enough to go, which it should be enough because the following turn, he playing a trap deck, man. He's going to set 1, I flip over Turpin. I can, like, make the Promethean, bring back Angelica, and then, like, fire off Angelica. So, like, we're in the driver's seat now. But, yeah, trap decks like this just can't function in today's, like, modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Because, like, the entire deck is, like, designed around your opening hand. He flips over Needle Ceiling, and I just Ash it. That's... Yep. And then we just wrap it up here and go on into the next game, which is going to be, hopefully, as invigorating as the first game. So, game number 2. Feels good taking the win after losing the dice roll against that. But again, that just goes to show you that, again, like I just said, unless, like, even Eldritch would probably be, like, Eldritch and Labyrinth are probably, like, the most recent, you know, trap decks. But even, like, those decks have fallen out of favor because they're just not fast enough, I feel. We see Grass Looks Greener get firing off here, which is, he's going to mill 13 cards, which is kind of crazy. We see a lot of cards getting milled. I don't think we see a rollback. Or maybe that was the last card. I can't remember. But anyway, the set 5 technique, or set 4 because he only had to do that. So now we just got to try and play through these 4 background. The one thing I've learned is arguably, man, you should just like scoop it up and go on into, you know, game number 3 where I know I get to go first. But I'm like, nah. So I was like, hey, I'm going to activate Salesman here because I didn't, you know what, I'll be honest with you guys, I did not keep my Lightning Storms and Feather Duster strapped. So I sent Salesman to call Daruma Cannon. Out of everything, I was like, Daruma Cannon flips my stuff face down. Let's just call it. And just go ahead and just try to play into this board without having everything being booked on me. So anyway, we start our turn by normal summon the Fighting Flame Swordsman, which again, guys, I'm telling you, like, this card it's so much better with the Dark Flare Swordsman that essentially you essentially get access to this card without committing to your normal summon, which then lets you just have a normal summon. The deck is not so much reliant. Given in this scenario, I did have to normal summon, but it is a solid normal summon nonetheless because due to being able to put on the extra body, you should be able to essentially get to an SP Little Knight, which is nice, you know. And like I said, I'm not playing the Flame Dance, but in this case of playing the Flame Dance, you could. He goes Candina to Book of Moon. And I'm like, does that target? And so I contemplate. I'm like, I could fire off the Flame Sword Dance here, But I'm like, do I really care? Like, I'm like to the point, I'm like, do I care? And he attempts to use the trap card, and I tied a bell, which I'm pretty sure that works because the card is trying to summon for itself from the graveyard. So I just decide to, like, I don't care. Just go ahead and then I activate the Fighting Flame Sword. Is that? No, that's Heritage of the Chalice. I activate Heritage of the Chalice. I think that's Heritage of the Chalice. No, it's Fighting Flame Sword. Okay. Just from this distance and the angle, it kind of looked like it was the Arthur and, you know, and the Custonin. So, but this right here is kind of like I don't know, like maybe like a bad play. I kind of get antsy here. I summon out the Dark Flare Swordsman. He's asking about the Fighting Flame Dragon here, what it does, and I was like, quick effect equip to a fusion monster. Should have been able to equip to a Fire Warrior, but I digress. I attempt to set one and pass it over. And conveniently, he flips over. I think it's the Rising Heart. I don't know why I do this. I should not have cared that. I flipped out on this card again. I was just like, oh, quick effect, chain. I should have just let it go. So then during my turn, I could have gotten something. And then he activates Song of the Kings, or something of the Dominus of the... That's the new Dominus card. It was called Psalm of the Kings in the OCG, but... Dominator or something like that. Song of the Dominator, I think is what it is. Songs of the Dominators, yeah. That's what that card is. That card's actually pretty crazy. He'd be able to search for an impulse too, but he told me he doesn't have impulses. And with understandable, right? The card's super expensive, given it's getting a reprint soon. Which also, speaking of 10 reprints, I cannot wait to potentially pick up. I want to pick up a playset of Purges and an extra playset of Impulses, just because a lot of my decks. You can play Impulse in this deck, but it really conflicts with the Effect Veilers and the Chummies. But I know like some people don't care about the Chummy confliction. You just fire off the Chummy. So what it comes up to me is I don't like to have like these like pressured scenarios, right? If I open Impulse and Fua, I will drop Fua. You got to drop Fua chain frame 1 so you can resolve it right before you Impulse. And that allows the opponent to then construct around it. I like using my Fua more tactically to be able to use it to guarantee draw and punishing the opponent by putting them in a committed spot where they have to give me more draws. And I don't want to be put in that situation where just to play an Impulse, even though Impulse is insane. And then also because I play Effect Veiler, because Effect Veiler is a non-once per hand trap that you can draw into with the Chummies, but also if you see the Dark Flare Swordsman, like I said earlier in the video, it plus Effect Veiler, it plus Ash Blossom. Given though Ash Blossom is not affected by Impulse, you just normal summon out your Effect Veiler. But again, it turns off 3 cards in my deck. It turns off more than that. It turns off 6 cards if you count the Fuas. So I just don't like that. I mean, maybe it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but a few times I've tested with it, I've really got a lot of my cards turned off, and I was not a big fan of, you know, that right there. But anyway, we're seeing these cards go off here. We're seeing the Paleozoic summon out. He has 3 Paleozoics on the field, which he can overlay into the big Paleozoic, which I think is the Enomoxacaris, however you pronounce it, Emoxacaris. However you, I don't even know how you would begin to pronounce that thing. But, yeah. I also like their Opabina. Opabina is pretty crazy. The fact that you're gonna get the trap cards from the hand from that card's kind of crazy. But anyway, we see this guy pump up. He's going to attempt to pop. I just imperm. Crazy that all those... I've been saying crazy a lot, but it's kind of wild that when you read them, they're unaffected by monster effects, which is... Whoa. Lucky enough for me, since you play the Flame Swordsman package, you do have multiple ways to out cards like this, like the Book of Moon, the Fighting Flame Sword being spell and trap removal. Again, even against that one card, Chaos Angel, used to be kind of a problem because you just had to put it on have imperm, but like now it's like, okay, no, I can just book it, or I can just, you know, pop it by searching the the Fighting Flame Sword. So this is staring down essentially a Trident in a way. I set one and Trident, and I'm like, okay, well, I do not know if I will be able to out a Trident. Well, it's not a detonator. It's a Trident, so it's going to be fair. It's only going to pop once, so I just got to play pretty smart. I think it's attack something like 22 or 24. It's 24. Yeah, so I just got to get big enough to whack over it, which isn't hard to do. Set one mysterious card, and do I just pass? Do I just pass? Or do I normal summon? I normal summon the Oliver. I'm trying to even remember what's going through my head here. Because when you're in the heat of the moment, you just kind of don't remember. Equipped here. Gearfried effect in hand. There we go. So Gearfried coming to my rescue yet again. So we equip the Salamander with Chain. Activate Gearfried. Gearfried summons. And then he's asking me, he's like, what does this do? And I was like, oh, it does nothing. And Gearfried, well, Gearfried doesn't do nothing, but I was like, he was just verifying with me. I look at my extra deck to see. I was like, oh man, maybe I try to like, but what could I link into? You know what I mean? Like, he has nothing. I was like thinking SP, right? But surely he wouldn't try to pop the SP. He would, I got to force this pop is essentially what I get to, because he'd just go battle phase and whack over SP, and I just lose my Gearfried and my Oliver. But I could, SP is just not the right call here. So I'm like, maybe I just go battle phase, and then he's forced to pop the Gearfried, and then during my turn I have the Book of Moon, and I can boost my Oliver up to 18. But yeah, he just detaches to pop the Gearfried, which is as expected. Because remember, once we get to the damage step, man, where Gearfried activates, there's nothing they can do unless they have something that modulates attack modifiers or that negate activations. So just remember that, guys. So just if you guys are playing Infernoble, remember Gearfried's pretty powerful. But anyway, we go battle phase, and the cool thing about the trap card is the trap card can activate in the damage step, because the trap card changes modifiers. So I can go ahead and flip over the trap to give my Oliver here 700 attack, and then book the XYZ. I can't even pronounce it. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name, because the name's like so hard for me to pronounce. But then, since he declared an attack, he can't flip it back up. And that's what he was thinking. And he's like, can I flip it back up? And I was like, nope. If I remember, because we looked into this very recently, if you declare an attack or change battle positions, you can't change the battle position if it's flipped face down. And I was like, yeah, you declare an attack, so you can't flip it face up. Because we were even deep into the damage step when that happened. And I think he just sets another card, which is wild, because I don't think I can out this guy. He's huge. He has such a huge, well, it doesn't have like a big booty, I don't think. Yeah, he doesn't have a huge booty, but he's big enough. But I pretty much got to. I have an 1800 attack, Oliver that needs to swing into this guy. And we go battle. I declare. But he does. Oh, yep. He has tomfoolery in the graveyard. Banish rollback, paying half his life to target Daruma Cannon. Can't stop it. So if it gets flipped face down, I have a call by here. It looks like in my hand, call by. But see, what's good is that I do have half of the Ultimate Flame Swordsman. So it's like if I can just keep dragging this game on, like the trap decks want to play this type of game, man. So it's like we just got to play the long game. Arguably should have swooped it up, like I said earlier, but we're just going to keep it. We're going to try and grind it out here, because I'm not going to give this trap deck the satisfaction of beating my Flame Boys, my Infernoble Noble Knights. I'm not going to give him the satisfaction of just having me scoop it up, especially since I feel like I'm not that out-resourced. He has 4 cards, I have 3. So it's like we're not that far out of resource. He's paid more life than I have. So like if the trap deck wants to play the grind game and go into time, let's do it. Let's do it. All right, so he's looking at his graveyard. I'm trying to think of what he's trying to figure out he can do. So he flips over the big old XYZ, and I'm like, I can't do nothing about it. So I think he uses the effect where he reveals a card, and if it's a trap, he can set it and activate it. No, I think he activates D-Barrier. Yeah, he activates D-Barrier, calling, Synchro, I think. And then he's able to do it. Gets Blackjack. And Blackjack's pretty crazy. And I just like, I better read Blackjack here. So I just read the Blackjack, and he goes ahead here, and he activates his XYZ to go ahead and pop my set card. So he's forcing... And I was like, call by the grave. Targeting the Blackjack in the graveyard. But we don't catch it right here. So he thought the one that I was reading was the one that I was banishing, but that was the one that was already banished. So yeah, he's just... And I was like, hey man, get rid of that Blackjack. And I was like, banish that Blackjack, boy. So we catch it. So he declares into Oliver. I take 1200, which I'm used to taking 12 in this deck. Sometimes you take it, sometimes you take it yourself. You give it to yourself, you know what I mean? So I draw for turn. I think I drew a fantastic card, one of the best cards, the Dark Flare Swordsman coming in. And what's wild is that even if just by hard drawing him rather than the others, I'm sitting insanely good. Just because his life is only... I think his life is down to 2,000. He activated rollback twice, I believe. And so, like, we're literally sitting here with, like, I'm pretty good here. I go battle phase, attack. banish target that guy. So that means I have to, if I remember right, the rise to full heights, I think that means I just have to attack him. I'm going to read this card real quick because I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Yeah, but banish this card, target one monster, your opponent monsters cannot attack for the rest of the turn except to attack that monster. Yeah, so he targets a court. I mean, so he targets that monster. I go battle phase. I tribute to summon out this guy. He goes rollback, target my imperm to target this. So again, we're just it's baiting. That's all we're doing. And now we're in the driver's seat. He's paid rollback twice, so he's at 2,000. So I fire off my trap card here. Oh, and he's like, anything in response? I was like, nope, nothing in response. Yep. So he goes, well, technically I could have had a response there, but yeah, it's okay. Because I just see, unless that set card over here is something crazy, we go on in here into Fusion Summon, into the Ultimate Flame Swordsman. And he was asking what it does. And I was like, shuffles back from field or grave to summon out the Ultimate Flame Swordsman. And then I just essentially just, you know, equipped Oliver here. Oh, so he stopped us. We didn't go battle phase. So we did that before we went to battle. So yeah, so we're able to, okay. Yep, so I go Oliver effect to equip just so like, this is a quick effect pop now, but also so he can't be targeted, attack. And then at the start, I was like, hold up, start a damage. I get to double my attack points, which makes me 40 or 46, I believe. And I whacked just right over that guy. He had 2,000 life. It was game. And we go into round number 4 here, taking that victory from that wannabe Josh Smith dude. And we get to finally win a dice roll. So we go draw phase, activate. I have Called By in my hand. My hand is really strong, which is going to show you probably the most nastiest things I see here. So I activate in hand. He chains Holly Sue, and I'm like, yeah, that's okay. And I do kind of mess up here, but I don't think it would have mattered in the long run here. So he reveals Ash and Madlove for Holly Sue. I tribute for cost, Chainlink 2, and then I choose the Imperm here. What I should have done is tributed for cost, Chainlink 1, Holy Sue, Chainlink 2, Darkflare Swordsman, Chainlink 3, Fuwa, Chainlink 4, yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, and I should have threw the Fuwa in here, but I catch it, and I was like, yeah, you threw Ash. But see, he had Ash to stop the Fuwa anyway, so it's okay. And I tried to throw it here, but I was like, oh, wait, I controlled the Imperm, so I can't. I was like, oh, no, I did this incorrectly. So he summons out the Caesar, and then he gets to summon out the Raisin in my column. So so this is insane. This is what's some of the most biggest bullshit I have seen in my life. We just scoop it up. We go to the next game. So like he's able to summon the Raisin in my column. He has a Fire and a Dark to blow my thing, and then he still has a Caesar that he can pop. That's the most insane I've ever seen. So we go Salesman, called Droll here, just because again. So we eat Imperm on Ogier, which is okay. So we special out the Renault and try to play through it. Yeah, that's probably the most unfair thing about Vanquish Soul. Like, no deck should be able to do what Vanquish Soul just did. And arguably, I know Caesar's like a one of in most lists, so it's not going to happen all the time, but still, like, what? That just doesn't feel right. That's insane. Like, you cannot sit here and tell me that a deck should be allowed to have that much crazy form of disruption. He had Ash on top of it all, so like he had like, it's just wild. And those are like, and that's not 1-for-1 hand traps, guys. Like, that's literally, those bodies are sticking. So like, it's insane. Like, that's some of the most craziest luck / like, I don't even know if you can call it skill in a way, except for just he opened the best 5 cards. So he goes Imperm onto my Angelica, which is, he's fired off 2 Imperms. We'll fire off the Noble Arms Museum here to attempt to pay 12 to try and play through this and try to get up to something. I think what I got going on here, I can potentially get to Charles. And Charles is very good into Vanquish, simply because since he doesn't target to destroy, whatever they summon, they don't have time to, if Charles triggers, they don't have to, and they chain one of their Vanquish Soul, the big guys, they don't have time to respond because Charles is resolving, and Charles will just destroy, like, the Caesar or destroy something. But anyway, we get to summon out the Fighting Flame Sword guy by banishing the Ricciardetto, because we searched out Ricciardetto banished. So that gives me a tuner right now. I get to search out the Fighting Flame Sword. I mean, like, this is playing through double Imperm pretty well, if you ask me. But I'm trying to see here. I'm like, maybe there's a way. Like, I even contemplated, I was like, maybe I can make Baguska. But my buddy Kyle here caught the camera. He's like, your cord is kind of in the way there. If you guys didn't notice it the last game, it was sitting there. But yeah, out of all the, like, the games tonight, like, even against Vanquish Soul Canine, it didn't feel as bad. Like, that opening game 1 just completely buttered my buns, and it's just like, you can't even, what do you do? Like, I mean, like, I can sit and complain to the moon that a deck should not be able to do what it does, but it did it because Konami allowed it to do it. So I just gotta kind of suck it up and get through it, but it shouldn't take away from the variance of the deck, you know what I mean? Like, don't think like, oh, this deck's bad. Well, if this deck is, like, you know, Infernoble, any deck would struggle against a Vanquish Soul turn 1 like that. Like, that's a turn 0. A Vanquish Soul turn 0. Like, any deck would struggle against that. You know what I mean? So it's just like, my hand was goated too, because I had call by. So, like, I could have called by the Ash. I could call by Fua. You know what I mean? Like, my hand beat multiple disruptions, just not in the Vanquish Soul ones. And I just, like, what do you do? What do you do? But anyway, we end up getting to Charles, equipped into Salamandra, to go ahead and link off here into Charles. The cool thing about this is I'm going to still have a pretty decent kind of board setup. Like, I mean, even through double Imperm here, Imperm on the Angelica, like, I'm going to have a Book of Moon, a Pop, and a Spell and Trap Negate. That's still, like, 3 disruptions through 2 Imperm, so, like, he's only going to have 1 more card than me. He's going to have 4 cards in his hand. And so we're setting pretty good. We set 2... Which I drew double Salesman, and I just I just set that card up there on my field center just to signify my hand. End phase, we go here. I think I end up equipping Oliver because I just don't want to lose, since in this weakened board or the simplified board state with Charles, you always want to try to equip Oliver just so you don't have to waste your negate on an Imperm. Just a frame 1 Imperm. I mean, he already threw 2, you know, but like, what are the chances? Especially since I really can read when luck is not on my side. But he normal summons Raisin. He attempts to use Raisin's effect. Maybe I should have Book of Moon here. Maybe. I do Book of Moon. I activate the ability to attempt to equip to a Charles and Book of Moon. So even if he chains here, I can, you know, bounce back. But yeah, I just had, again, not having a monster negate. Just normally that Raisin search is so important on the first time. So yeah, it's Holly Sue. Oh man, Holly Sue. Like, I am such in a very bad spot with Holly Sue, man, because I was a true advocate for Holly Sue, and then after that last game, my opinion really changed. I was like, yeah, maybe Konami should not have made Holly Sue be this crazy or good. Like, it did not need to do all these things. But anyway, he's going to attempt to try and steal, and I can't do anything about it. He just gets to steal my highest attack monster. Not a darn thing I can do. And just to clarify for those who are maybe like zoned out or nothing, that card that is set is not a card set, it's just what's in my hand. So we get to see the summon of Mad Love. Mad Love get to go search. My set card is, I think I set the Bluff Salesman, the second one that I opened. But I mean, like, that Salesman, this is my biggest. You guys also get to see, like, why I like Salesman, but why I also dislike it. Because in this scenario, if I called Imperm, I probably would have got drolled. You know what I mean? So it's definitely one of those, like, catch-22s where you're never gonna... So he sees Caesar come down, and yeah, that's essentially... He has enough for game. My Charles is huge. My Charles is 47. Yeah, I paid 12. So yeah, he just ends up going battle phase and just whacks into it right there. And we don't catch it at first. We forget about the 12, but we catch it here in a little bit. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please stay safe, stay healthy. This is Charles from Team COG signing out.